I'm thinking, I don't know.
Can you
Let's,
see my screen?
um, it's just the blank screen. There you go. Now I can.
Now you can.
Yep.
Okay. Let me maybe I could go through some of the ROF mastery stuff. Who do we
See,
got coming on? Let's see.
the only ones so far. Oh, now we got Mike, Nomley, and Mona.
Cool. Can you see my authentic persuasion book there?
I can.
The book I did everything myself on, and it's shipped. It's shipping. See how it
Dang.
turns out.
Nicely done.
Okay. Personal mindset check-in. All right, yeah. So we'll do this on the authentic way to persuade, to put cells into your practices. Yeah, I think this would be great for all three that are on. Cool. All right, man. You want to kick it off?
All right, let's do this. All right, welcome everybody. This is Kate Archibald with the Go Wellness webinars, and we are so excited to have you on the show today. So today what we're going to be talking about is, yeah, you guessed it, it's right on the screen, is authentic persuasion. So really how to have some authenticity when you're talking to new patients, how to really have the right mindset and the way to go about um, getting someone involved in your clinic and opening their mindset to a new way of looking at medicine and looking at health. And this is going to help you be able to help more people, influence people better, whether it's on the sales side or if it's on the treatment side, because on the treatment side you have to be able to persuade someone to do the treatment that you need them to do, and also follow through with it and be compliant, because otherwise you won't get results if they're not following through with the plan that you create for them. So this is going to be an awesome webinar today. Before we jump into the topic, and Reagan's going to really start jamming on that for you guys, I want to go through upcoming events. So in just a couple weeks, we're going to be in New Jersey. It's Tinton Falls, and that will be May 20th and 21st. So that's a Saturday, Sunday. We're going to be doing Saturday will be all day functional medicine, healthcare entrepreneur training. We'll have 2 separate rooms, working on some admin stuff, implementation stuff, and then also functional medicine protocols. And then on Sunday, Reagan, we're going to be doing a lot more of the acupuncture blueprint on Sunday. Is that correct? Or still healthcare entrepreneur stuff?
Turned off.
Oh, all right. And then the next event after that, make sure you got this on your calendars and you were set up to get registered for this, because you don't want to miss it. This is the first time ever, June 23rd and 24th in Salt Lake City. We're doing the stem cell report of findings transformation course, as well as stem cell implementation. So you're going to be getting training on how to actually implement and do the procedures and everything with stem cells, how to sell it, how to promote it, how to really evaluate if someone's a good case, and how to influence them into doing a stem cell program. And so this is going to be a game changer. I think we've kind of put the value at $24.95 for that weekend event. If you're already a member of the Stem Cell Revolution program, uh, which if you're not, you definitely need to reach out to us. But yeah, you get $1,000 off if you're a part of that program, which ultimately it pays for itself. It's $97 a month for the Stem Cell Revolution for the basic protocols and everything. And so we're really excited to have you guys on. If you have questions, want to reach out, want to get to that event, reach out to us at info@gowellness.com. Future LA event, July 15th, 16th, and then we got the following one in October. So we're really excited about this summer. Really excited to take it to the next level for you guys. And so we're just trying to create more and improved content and everything. And so I'm going to hand it off to Reagan. He's going to be jumping into Authentic Persuasion. This is actually a book that he has just published. You're looking at the cover of his own created and published book. So right there, hands down, pretty impressive. So well done, Reagan, and take it away.
Hey guys, well this Authentic Persuasion I did design the cover, everything A to Z through this really cool software called Blurb. And this is a book I'd already written for the Report of Findings Persuasion program or the Transformation program. And then I made it into a book because I think this needs to be in the hands of every single healthcare practitioner on the planet. I don't care if you're a chiropractor, acupuncturist, if you do functional medicine. This will be a game changer. So I've got my first copies are on the way, my first 10 copies, and I'll have them in New Jersey. I know some of you on this the webinar today will be joining us in New Jersey. A couple of you live close to New Jersey and I haven't seen you register, so you guys need to get on that registration and get out to see us. But today we're going to be talking about one of the most challenging aspects of being a healthcare provider for all of us, myself included, and that is how to be authentic when you're talking about money and finances, and how to actually keep the lights on when you're an all cash practice. I mean, that's one of the things that Go Wellness strives to do, is we want to help you put in powerful enough business models where you're not dependent on health insurance to, you know, make ends meet and to satisfy your bottom line. And a lot of you have done that. You've done it over the years. You've done it incredibly well, but it's always something we can improve on. So as I go through this training today, it's just going to be an overview of the Authentic Persuasion. Once I have the physical copy of the book in my hand, then we'll have it available. And then we will be doing another Report of Finding Transformation series probably in the fall. It was so successful. We packed the room. It was really fun when we did the first event. So, all right. So let's jump into this. Hopefully you guys like my cover. Table of contents. You can see we're going to talk about money, mindsets, and value. What is selling anyways? Personal mindset quiz. Placebo is part of the process. The Report of Finding Transformation mindsets, because once again, when it comes to finances, money is just energy, and it's an energetic exchange, and money is valuable because of the symbol that it represents. And but really, before money ever existed, it was more of a bartering system, trade and barter. So mindsets are going to be key. Patient mindset breakthroughs. If your patients don't have the right mindset, if they think, oh, I'm just going to, this is a sliding scale clinic, or it has been in the past, I'm just going to pay as little as I can, or I can't afford what my insurance won't cover. You guys know all these patient mindsets, and really what we're going to do is talk about how to break through those. It's taming the amygdala. The amygdala is the reptilian part of it senses when there's a threat, and a lot of people, their brains are hardwired to be afraid of talking about money. I talk to you about money and investment in a program like Go Wellness, and I know many of you probably had your amygdala went off, like, oh man, can I afford this? Is this worth it? am I going to get a return on my investment? And the nice thing about it is, for those of you who could calm your amygdala down and actually see the value in having mentoring and having coaching, such as today, then what you do is you actually satisfy that reptilian brain, and then that allows you to make more of a rational decision from your prefrontal cortex. But at the end of the day, every decision with finances, it comes down to two components. One is an emotional component, whether someone will admit it or realizes it or not. The other piece is an intellectual component. And so you have to satisfy both of those parts of the brain. So, we discussed that. Overcoming objections like a pro, one of the biggest things that we ask you to do right out of the gates when you start in our training program is learn how to overcome objections. Because if you expect the objections to come up, and you can tackle those objections and confront those like Bruce Lee would confront 50 fighters, 50 different people coming at him, then you're going to be a black belt closer. So we have a test to see if you are a black belt closer. We have your case manager daily checklist. Some of you are your own case manager, but if you're not, this daily checklist, it's also in Manual 1 in your Kanye West manual. I included a few different checklists, and you're going to see that throughout the year. As I mentioned, 2017 is teamwork. We're looking for 10 times the amount of teamwork, and so I'm training on a lot of different tools to enhance teamwork. For those of you who attended the webinar last week, it should be on our website now. Actually, it is. I know that for a fact because I've sent a few people to it because they've asked for the recorded version. But we went through your whole organizational structure, your organizational board, so you can see the 7 different divisions that exist a modern day corporation and organization. It's not a top down, it's more of a flat organizational structure, but one of the main things is you've got to have all the checklists for every different post in your office, and that makes your life so much better. Even if you're the one doing each post, if you're the marketing director, well, schedule yourself out. 10 hours a week is all that you're doing marketing. Don't do more than that. Do less if you can. If you have plenty of leads and can do less, that's fine. And then you're going to have 10 hours of just doing sells and closes and report of findings and report of finding follow-ups and re-exams and all those things that bring in revenue. And then you're going to have 10 hours a week where you're just doing clinical work. You're doing acupuncture, you're doing your functional medicine, you're doing chiropractic adjustments, you're doing office visits, all of those things fall in that other 10 hours. And that's really, to have a robust office, that's all you need. If you have the systems in place, you become a lot more efficient in your systems and a lot more productive. So that's the 10-10-10, and having daily checklists are going to be key for that. So make sure you get your Kanye West manual and open that up and study that thing like crazy. Office tour. Are you doing an office tour? This is part of the persuasion. When we say authentic persuasion, what I mean by the title of that book, Authentic Persuasion, that means you've got to have the ability, A to Z, to help a person feel completely comfortable in what you're doing. We'll go into the art of the report of findings flow, all 17 steps, getting agreements. Small agreements lead to big commitments. And if you're not getting good agreements with your patients, if you both aren't on the same page when it comes to you need help and I have the solutions for you, then what you failed at doing is getting small agreements. Would you agree with me that this condition, your headaches, have been holding you back in life? If they say yes, absolutely, you say, yeah, I would agree with you. And what's going to happen in 5 years from now if these headaches continue on this path? Where do you think your headaches would be worse, better, the same? No, they're going to get worse, and I agree with you. That's what we see in most cases. So those are the small agreements, because if you want to disagree with someone, even if they're like, man, the only thing that helps is the medication, the Max salts or whatever they're taking, they really seem to be the only thing that helps. And don't disagree with them. Say, oh yeah, it's going to help, but it's going to give you side effects. It's like, yes, I agree. That's the only thing that's helping you right now. Is the medication, would you say, something you want to be on the rest of your life? I rarely find people who want to be on medications their entire life. and then they'll agree, no, absolutely not. So it's, that's the getting agreements, and there's a fine art to it. And then you got to get closing agreements, finances, where they start to see that their health is more valuable than their finances. All of us, we do a very good job at justifying why we cannot spend money on our health. Many of you on this webinar right now, probably there's been many times in your life where you should be investing in your health and you're not. So have these agreements with yourself first, and then we'll go through the new patient paperwork, role play the ROF. There's certain sequences that you want to role play at least once a month. Some of you every week if your close rates are dropping below about 70%. And then how to create closing opportunities in seminars. We go through that whole mystery sandwich of what you can put whatever topic, whatever meat you want in the middle of your sandwich, but as long as you have a structure and a container and you're using the same type of overall flow and process in your seminars, then you're not going to get closes. So you need to make sure that whatever topic it is you're addressing, that you've got that. So we talk about that in the book, and then learning from the past. So, all right. So I think one of the things I want to jump into right out of the gates is let's talk about selling, because one of the big things that we think is bad, or we think is below us, is selling. Now, for you to be a good salesperson, then what you need to do is actually start mimicking the salespeople that you like. The people who sell the best are the people who have no idea are even selling to you. So you think of Steve Jobs, and Steve Jobs was arguably the world's best salesperson, because whenever Apple would launch a new product, and who is it, Cook? I can't remember his the new CEO of Apple, Tim Cook. People do not flock to his sales events quite like they did with Steve Jobs, but people would camp overnight. They'd come from India. They'd come from all over the world just to hear the new announcement from Steve Jobs about the new product that he's pitching. Now, all of us in life, we can live without a smartphone. We can live without Apple products. Apple products is a want, it's not a need, and we're far more likely as humans to buy something we want instead of something we need. A lot of you, even spending the time to be on this webinar this morning, you guys have a want you want to improve your skills. You want to be better providers, better practitioners, and so, my hat's off to you. That's incredibly impressive, because a lot of people, they jump in only when they need something, not when they want it. But this is more of one of those want processes where you want to get better. So the thing about Steve Jobs, what makes him a good salesperson, is he learned how to create something that people wanted that they had no idea they even wanted. How many of you remember a flip phone, and you're looking at that thing, you're like, this thing's incredible. And when they first came out, we were just so stoked just to be able to have a phone that we could call people with. And then when texting came out, I remember the first text I sent was like 2010. And at first I was like, nah, I don't want to text. That's weird. And everyone was kind of doing it. And I'm like, seems rude and impersonal. And now that's my #1 form of communication, is texting and then emails. So it's just crazy. But you see, Steve Jobs could look into the future and see what people would want. And that's when you're creating your new genre in healthcare, you have to be able to see what the person in front of you cannot see. And so you're creating a bigger future, because whenever you're looking at talking to somebody about selling them health, you're always talking about a future. So there's nothing beyond sales besides giving somebody a bigger and better future for themselves, and it's always about them. It's not about you. So Steve Jobs, Musk, even though he's very awkward in his public speaking, what he says is profound, and many of you have seen that. Steve Jobs was very polished. He would get up there, I mean, he would spend 90 hours on a 30-minute presentation. I mean, he would just train over and over and over again. Elon Musk, he's more interested in the design and engineering. Steve Jobs is more interested in the entrepreneurial side. Of course, Elon Musk realizes you got to have a business in order to succeed, If if SpaceX is not profitable, it doesn't make sense for him to bleed out all his resources. They'll run out sooner or later. But there's even people who are incredible sales people like Alice Walton, Kim Kardashian. Believe it or not, I have no idea what she sells except an image, but she is. I think when I heard a stat, she's like the most followed female on social media. It's insane. But all right, so let's just get a really good definition so you can get comfortable with selling, because selling is one of those things that if you master this, then your freedom is exponential for years to come. And the coolest thing about that is when I train my team on how to sell, and everybody at East West, everybody knows how to do a report of findings, everyone knows how to do a financial close, everybody knows what things cost and how to talk to patients about money, from our medical doctors to our front desk, relationship specialists. I don't like the term front desk, or a relationship specialist. Everybody on the team knows how to sell. And I think that's one of the most key ingredients, because selling is one of those multiplier effects. It's not just 1 + 1, me in a room equals a sell, and then we can move forward in business. It's like, no, we've got 30 people who are all very well trained at how to sell. And so this is a key. That's why we have transformation course, so that you can bring your team in and your team can get very inspired and they can learn exactly how to do this process. So here's a definition of selling, and this is the best one I've ever heard, and it's from one of my dear mentors, Dan Sullivan. If you have not heard my podcast with him, listen to that. We're going to do another podcast in June. I'm going to try and interview him once or twice a year until he's 156. That's the goal. So he says selling is getting someone intellectually engaged in a future result that is good for them, and getting them to emotionally commit to take action to achieve that result. All right, so for those of you who have the org board structure in front of you from last week, pull that out real quick. And what division was your sales division in your organization? Do you guys remember? What division? Come on, I need someone. Okay, so get out your org board from last week, and yes, exactly. Thank you. The division 5 is that is the division where your sales process is happening. It's what we call the patient health commitment. And if you look on the very top, you've got the healthcare entrepreneur, which is many of you or all of you, and then you've got your chief results officer. So the person who is dealing with results, whoever your chief results officer is, they need to really understand sales, because remember, selling is getting someone intellectually engaged in a future result. That means you got to sell your team, you got to sell your patients, everybody on this result that's good for them, and getting them to emotionally commit to take action and achieve that result. So it's got to be something that's future-based. The only way you can ever sell anything is by helping someone to see how their health conditions can safely and effectively be resolved with your solution. So hopefully you guys realize that selling is exactly what your patients need. They need someone who's authentic at it, somebody who is going to be very blunt and very straightforward and incredibly transparent. Joe Polish says, people love to be sold, but they hate to be pressured. How do you feel in your environment where someone is educating you and offering you something you really want? You don't even perceive it as being sold. It's enjoyable, even fun. This is the selling environment you need to create to be successful in a skeptical, cynical marketplace. Now, this is what I've seen time and time and time again. Is yes, in order to get somebody emotionally committed, you have to first of all find out what their motivating factor is. Why did you call the office today? What are the main health concerns that you'd like to address? How are those affecting you in your day-to-day life? So you actually get them to stop for a minute and think about their IBS or their Hashimoto's, or whatever that chronic program is. Because then what happens is, as you become a pro at handling any objections that come up, and they see the value in it, then the last objection that's ever standing when it comes to a person getting help is only financially. How much of an investment can you tolerate? How much will it take? And that's when you really can dig down and help a person get much more committed to the overall process, because essentially what we're doing is providing a person with health independence. We're not a clinic. The Go Wellness systems are unlike any other practice management group out there, because what we're training you on is giving somebody their independence, and either that's with regenerative medicine, where you're using stem cell therapy to regenerate a joint, to regenerate a brain, to regenerate a thyroid, whatever the condition may be, or you're using functional medicine to determine what the underlying inflammatory conditions are, how's their stool, their gut, their genetics, all of those main things. What's the exposomal factors, what's their lifestyle, and then we're adding in acupuncture, Chinese medicine, whatever treatments you do in your clinic, chiropractic care, all those things, nutrition, physical therapy. Some of you do physical therapy. All those things are very key to helping a person literally transform their health. And so, first thing I want to do is just take a minute. Let's go through your personal mindset check-in, and you guys have seen this before. Many of you have, but I'm big into mindsets, and not just because it's kind of like the cool thing these days, or mindsets, but really a mindset is it's a behavior, it's an attitude, it's a willingness to be a certain way, and it's our choice, because at the end of the day, based on the cards we're dealt, we're not going to like every single card, but it's your mindset that's going to say, wow, I've got a 17 and I'm playing blackjack, and I'm gonna have to make this thing happen. So, all right, let's talk about mindset number one. Your purpose is to help as many people as possible get as healthy as possible with natural medicine. Every day you're making advancements in your ability to grow as a practitioner or team member to create healthcare that will make a bigger impact for everyone. So, true or false? True or false, mindset number two. You are committed to taking 100% responsibility for your own health and well-being. You wake up every day with a renewed commitment to experiment on yourself so that you can discover where real health can be found. All right, so are you doing that? Did you meditate this morning? Did you go out and exercise? Get out in the woods? Man, it is gorgeous in Park City. It rained last night, so this morning the air smelled like mountains, all crisp and clean. I just got back from Miami, Florida, doing an event down there, and just really nice to be home. Went for a run with my dog, and it was very relaxing. I mean, it just helped me get this new sense of commitment and excitement for the day. So, are you doing that for your own health? This is the starting block. This is in session 2, the Elon Musk session. We are going to be talking about you taking 100% responsibility for your own health and well-being. All right, mindset number 3. Your target is to find and treat the root cause, because you realize that treating symptoms will only get you so far. Your examination, testing, lab reviews, and learning are always expanding, and you are using the best resources possible to identify and remove causal agents. So hopefully a lot of you are, we ask you to start with some simple tests. Start with the hair test, especially for those of you who are in New York State, because labs are so interesting there. Start with something that patients can do on their own at home, like a urine test or the stool test or the saliva, but get those things out so that you can actually start getting under the hood and figuring out what's going on with the patient. Okay, mindset number 4. You enter every patient encounter in a heart-centered flow state that allows you to be creative and to deeply connect with those you serve. Your work brings you significant enjoyment, and you feel refreshed by your ability to provide meaningful care. So is that true or false? And yes, I had a typo there. Damn it. Mindset number 5. You see that having certainty and clear communication create 90% of your results. What you say is powerful and can transform an ordinary treatment into a life-changing experience because of the confidence you inspire your patients with. Now, I think this mindset, as far as the authentic persuasion goes, you first have to authentically believe it has to go deep into your body that the services that you're recommending your treatment, the services you're recommending your patients receive is the very best treatment that you can ever think of that they need. This will change their life, and so you have to be so certain of that and so confident. All right, mindset number 6, you see that office systems can lead to better outcomes because they provide a container that allows you to. Systems create a more meaningful patient experience and reduce everyone's workload. And if you don't believe in that, you try to go to anywhere, go to a restaurant that's really busy that has a lack of systems or poor management, and you'll really start to appreciate that the people control environments, that there is management, there's people that are standing up for making systems and making a structure. I think it's really important, and especially as healthcare providers, we're very creative, right brain types, and we don't always see the value in having these unique systems and structures in our workplace, but they are incredibly empowering, and that's one of the things that you have to have for teamwork is the team has to be on the same page. You're not going to see a basketball team win a game if they don't have a strategy, if they don't have a game plan. Especially at a high level like you and I are performing. So, all right, mindset number 7, you understand that healing is a unique process that every individual must go through in order to grow. You are simply there as a guide who can direct the patient on the correct path for lasting results that move them into a brighter, healthier future. True or false? And I think a lot of us, we take it on, and if our patients don't respond exactly the way we want them to, we feel so bad about it. But you have to realize, don't give up on them. I've just reached out to a company yesterday, and this company learned pons, the part of the brain that deals with the cerebellum for balance and memory and cognitive function, but it's actually this device that goes on your tongue. So it's a stimulator that goes on their tongue, and Chinese medicine was part of how they discovered this beautiful process. And literally what you're seeing happen is people who could not walk, they had poor balance, they're using the PONS machine, and they're just putting that, patients describe it as feeling like the pop rockets. I don't know if you guys have seen those or remember those as kids, but those pop rockets that kind of crackle on your tongue, that's what it feels like, but it's lighting up the PONS area of their brain and re-networking their entire nervous system. It's incredible, and it's not the FDA. It's going through the FDA approval process. I'm going to be the first on the list. We're going to be using the PONS with stem cell therapy for our regenerative patients. We're just getting ready to launch an Alzheimer's study and a dementia study and a traumatic brain injury, and I want to use the PONS device with stem cells. I think that would just rapidly transform the way people are responding. So if you understand that, yeah, maybe a patient didn't get the results that you want yet, just hang tight because we're bringing new technology to the table. Every single event is my goal, is bringing something new, whether that's a nootropic or a new device that you can use, or even if it's just a new office system or a new way of looking at things. But don't give up just because patients haven't got the results that you're hoping for yet. There could be more tests that need to be ran, and there's definitely going to be further treatments. But what you need to do first and foremost is create that relationship that's going to be lasting. So, all right, finding breakthroughs with new and expanding technology that includes new treatment methods, communication tools, office systems, and diagnostic testing, like nanosensors, which is very cool. Reached out to another company about nanosensors, and these are very close. In the next, from 2017 to 22, excuse me, the next 5 years, nanosensors and nanotechnology with diagnostics and healthcare is going to go up 92% is how much more it's going to be used. And so I want us to be on the front lines because it's very simple. If you can get your hands on some nanotechnology, just simply hand it over to your patient. They swallow the nanosensor, they chew it like a piece of gum, and all their data uploaded right there. I know you've heard me talk about nanosensors for a couple of years. Really think that's going to be a game changer. Nanosensors, the PONS unit, there's so many non-invasive, cool ways that we can start adding technology into our practices, even if you're practicing 3,000-year-old medicine, like I am with a lot of our acupuncture herbal formulas. Even bone setting is 3,000 years old for you chiropractors. Old stuff, but then we add in the new technology, and that's how we can really start transforming lives. So, all right, so placebo, we've talked about the placebo. You guys know with the placebo, it is huge. Even the nocebo effect, if somebody's skeptical, if they don't want to do it, that's why you have someone commit and they pay money up front. If somebody pays you $10,000, I guarantee you they're going to remove the nocebo effect. They're going to want this to work, and they're going to refer more people. They're going to be more committed. But placebo is about 60 to 63% of the healing process. And so just because you don't have everything exactly figured out when it comes to all of the treatments that you're using or exactly what that patient needs, the biggest thing you need to engage is the placebo. And that's where selling becomes really important, because you are getting them intellectually engaged and emotionally engaged. So you're satisfying those two needs. Whenever you want someone to make a commitment, and especially if you want them to make a financial commitment and actually pay for something, they've got to be emotionally invested and intellectually committed. So you've got to make sense on both of those. And that's where the placebo effect really starts to drive in, and then the results that they get will be so much better. All right, so I'm going to ask you guys some questions. And I think these can be some of the most important questions you can answer yourself. So what is your unique process that generates leads? So how are you getting people calling you? Because that is part of the sales process. The very first thing you need to do is you need to have a strong sales team that's going out there talking about your clinic all the time. So how are your patient relationships? Do your patients trust you? Do they believe that you have the solutions for their chronic problems? If they do, then what they're going to do is right after your visit with them, they're going to go out and they're going to talk to their other friends, and their other friends are going to learn all the cool stuff they've been doing at your clinic. They're going to say, oh man, I lost 20 pounds. My hair was falling out. Look how thick it is now. I have better energy. My knees work. I have no more arthritis. Look at how well I can move. I'm flexible. My energy's like it's never been before. And so that becomes a way that you process and generate leads. The other way is that Facebook ad that people click on and say, oh, that's interesting. I've never thought about, is my belly fat from, my adrenals? Is it hormonal? Or the best way to burn fat is to sleep. I had no idea. So I watched your webinar, and here I am. So think about that. What's your unique process? And then how can you make that 10 times more? How can you multiply it? And then score your results. How are you going to score your results? Well, the simplest way is how many leads are you guys getting? So the other thing is, what's your pre-education process that transforms prospects into new patients? Once again, that's where you need to have your videos made. How can you 10x your videos? How can you talk to people over the phone in a very educated way so that when they're sitting down with you, they know they're not just coming in for a chiropractic adjustment or an acupuncture treatment. You talk to them on the phone in a way that they understand that it's much more valuable to actually get a plan of care written up and figured out before they ever get acupuncture. And so that's what your pre-education process needs to be. How can you 10x this? How will you score results? I think 10xing that is, once again, have videos so you're not repeating yourself all the time, and then have your frequently asked questions. Make sure you've got scripts for all of those questions. That's how you can 10x that, and then train everybody on it, so it's not like, well, I don't know the answer to that question. Can I call you back? And then they have to, you see it happens, and many of us providers, I used to just get inundated, and I would be like, man, at any break I would have, I'm like, I really need to urinate. I've been seeing patients straight for 5 hours, but no, first of all, let me answer all these questions, and then all the questions, they get very redundant. So how does acupuncture work? Can we treat headaches? How many patients with back pain have we treated? Do you treat autoimmunity? All those things that come up. And so make sure that those are all clearly articulated. That's the only way you can free yourself is by writing these things down. Any obstacles that come up, the obstacle is the way. Remember that book that I've encouraged every single one of you to read by Ryan Holiday? Way. It shows you exactly the direction you need to take. So if you keep running into the same problem time in and time out, you know, either your team is they keep making the same mistake, they're not closing people, or leads call in and those leads aren't going anywhere. Well, write it out, figure out what's going on, do a fact versus fiction process, very key. And then score your results. Well, obviously that would be your closes. Okay, next thing, what is your unique process that transforms reported findings into new patients? How can you 10x this? How will you score your results? And I think as we get to 869 in the book Authentic Persuasion, you'll see the exact unique process, the flow that you can go through. How can you 10x yours currently? You know, are they feeling cozy? I mean, that's where the office tour is so empowering. And then we give them a copy of my book. And I'm not trying to have you guys sell my book for me, but I am a friend of yours. I'm a mentor of yours. I am somebody you study and train with. And you've got my book that you can directly hand your patient, and that patient can call me if they want me to vouch for you and to lend to your credibility. So, you know, it goes so far in my practice. I love it when people are like, oh man, I just opened up your book, and I was reading about this digestive issue, and it's exactly what I've been thinking about, and you've already answered my question right here, you know. And then, you know, is that an easy close? Absolutely. But, you know, that's how you can 10x your results. You can 10x your results by maybe having them watch a video, or maybe meeting with one of your team members before they meet with you, who really lends your credibility. One of the ways we 10x this is by watching the Science of Persuasion, where we actually put our diplomas on the wall behind us when we're doing our report of findings, so patients can have some credibility in the room. Very empowering. Okay, score your results. Well, that's going to be a percentage of ROFs that close, I would say, or collections. Next thing, what is your unique process that converts new patients into additional services? Now, this is your Division 7 on your organizational board. Now, Division 7, I think, is where your gold mines are, and a lot of us, we leave that out. This is your re-ups for exponential growth. This is where you multiply services. And that's where it's so easy when you have a patient who is finishing a program and they want to re-up, so you re-up them for another year. That's great. But then you re-up them for another year, and they also say, you know, I think I'm ready to do stem cells in my knee. And then it's like, great, well, let's get the stem cells going, and we can do that today or tomorrow. What works best for you? You know, and it just adds more services. It's the simplest way that I've ever seen. You have someone who's just an acupuncture patient. Well, look, you know, I think we've gotten your improvements have been about 50 to 60%. They are to be what's expected, but there's a whole nother level that we have not addressed, and that's where I think we need to go at this point. If you're open to it, do you mind if I talk to you about the next level of care with your treatments? And then that's where you bring up the functional medicine. You say, look, there's labs we want to run. There's inflammatory conditions that if we don't determine what they are, this problem is going to keep going on. You're going to be a patient of mine for life, which is great for me, but not great for you. So, you know, these are some ways you add additional service. Okay, and then the final one, what is your unique process that converts new patients into raving fans and lifelong patients? You know, once again, the more money someone spends with you, the more they're invested in you. And I know it's a hard concept to buy into. You think, well, I gave someone a really good deal on their acupuncture, or I gave someone a really good deal on their program. They're going to be a patient for life. But I promise you, they are not. It devalues what you're doing. In some cases, obviously, I'm speaking very generally, but the majority of cases, people who love and have become lifelong raving fans, there's not a discount up front. There's not a sliding scale. There's not some type of process that makes them special. They realize and value all the systems and processes. They see that we're getting better all the time. They appreciate the results that we got them in that first stage of care. They see the new future, the new cool things we're bringing on. They're excited about the team members. All those things are really key for creating raving fans. So, many of you have seen these mindset quiz. I'm not going to go through this today. Final thing I wanted to get to is, yes, create your scorecards, but I wanted to talk to you about really sitting down and getting a goal set and getting a vision for what you want to start doing with your patients. And so this is where we'll talk about some mindsets that will allow you to attract the best patients. So first of all, the way you attract the best patients is write down the 3 best patients you've ever worked with and why they were the best. So as we finish up, just take a minute and write down those 3 best patients. Who are they? Why were they great? What made you connect with them? What was the difference? I mean, were they someone who's just like a fast thinker? I had a guy when we were in Miami. My wife, I said, hey, we should go rent a jet ski. It was earlier in the morning, and they just pulled them out. And I also wanted a paddleboard. So I got the, she's like, I don't know. And so I just went over there and talked to the guy. I said, hey, can I rent this jet ski? What's it take? How much does it cost? How about the paddleboards? And he's like, well, great. You know, here's the cost. It's $90 for the jet ski for 30 minutes. And the paddleboards are $45. And that's an hour. And I said, awesome. Let me go run this by my wife, see if she wants to do it with me or not. And I came back and he said, are you going to do it? I said, yep. And he said, great. So what I'm going to do for you, because you are someone who made a decision fast, I'm going to throw in the paddleboards. You guys still want a paddleboard, right? And I said, yeah. And he said, I'm throwing that in because you made a fast decision. I really appreciate that. And so, you know, I like patients who just say, yes, this is for me. Maybe you guys don't like that. Maybe you like someone who goes through this arduous process of thinking through every little tiny detail of what they're getting into. They don't trust their gut. But anyway, so write those down. Write the 3 best patients you've ever worked with, why they were the best. And then list the 8 characteristics of your very, very best patients. These 8 characteristics are going to be the beacon that you will send out all your marketing messages, including your website, your Facebook, your Instagram, YouTube videos. All of these are going to be really important, because what's going to happen is when they start seeing that they've got the same mindset as you, your conversion rate is going to be 20 times greater. I mean, when somebody sees that, wow, I love these mindsets, I love what this person is saying about health and about what my future looks like, this person knows exactly who I am. That's what you're looking at, because all you're trying to attract when it comes to finding people you're sitting down in your report of findings with are people who want to transform their health. I'm not looking for people who are only interested in getting rid of their headaches and not having a relationship with me. I'm not interested in someone who wants to come in for a yearly physical. I'm not interested in someone who just wants a drug refill. I'm not interested in anyone who just wants an acupuncture treatment and then to be on their way. They just treated it like they would a massage. I'm really interested in people who want to dig in and figure out exactly how they can get their health as well as possible, how they can 10x what they're doing. You know, whether that's with regenerating their joints, balancing their hormones, fixing their nutrition, correcting their gut, getting rid of any genetic predispositions they have, at least supporting themselves, you know, genetically, looking at micronutrient imbalances, having a health coach and a mentor. And then I also want somebody who's going to refer. I want people who are very gregarious, who get out there in the community and say, hey, you need to change your health. You know, you're eating like shit, and so I want you to go see Reagan. Yeah, that's what I love. Now, I mean, they don't have to be that harsh, but you know, I look around and I'm just baffled at what's going on in America. You look at people, and if our ancestors, you know, 200 years ago, if they got transported into 2017, just walking through an airport, you know, in the middle of America, they would say, what happened to humans? Humans are huge. They look different. They behave different. I mean, a lot of us have become very entitled creatures, and I think that's because we have poor health. We're making decisions and choices. We're putting things into our body that are very toxic, and they turn off our brain. We have all these mold exposures and eating too much sugar and too many hormone-laden foods that are laced with chemicals to really think for ourselves. And so I think health is the greatest thing that we can do and the greatest gift that we can provide society. And each one of you are moving the needle on that. I really respect that and appreciate that. So hopefully this has been an interesting little workshop that we've done. Feel free if you have any questions before we end up. Feel free. Can you repeat the name of the book again? Is The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday. And I've actually got a whole podcast on it at Go Wellness Radio on that book, The Obstacle is the Way. I've also got a YouTube video that I created on The Obstacle is the Way. It's a beautiful book. I've read it multiple times. I've given it out as gifts. So get the book, The Obstacle is the Way. All right, guys, so when this book is ready, I will be sending it out. I think what you'll see in here is some massive, massive value. And I think you guys are going to dig this, and it will get you ready for the next Report of Findings transformation course. So, newest book's called Authentic Persuasion. So happy you guys joined us today. Our next event is going to be in New Jersey. Whoop! And I'm super excited. May 20th is actually my 39th birthday. So come celebrate with us. And you guys know we like to celebrate. We like to work hard, play hard. And then the 20th is going to be the functional medicine event. The 21st is going to be the acupuncture event, acupuncture training. And then June 23rd and 24th is going to be our stem cell revolution course. And we're going to have dual track. We're going to train you on all the sales, marketing, admin side, and then train you on all the protocols and procedural side. So can't wait for those events. And then LA. Everybody, I need LA. I need you folks out in California. There's several of you on this webinar that live right there in the hood. Tell your friends they need to get out to our event July 15th and 16th. It's going to be Marina Del Rey again. And yeah, let's get that event just jamming. Can't wait to get back to LA. All right, Kate, anything you've got for these cool peeps?
No, not that I can think of. I covered it at the beginning, but yeah, just make sure email us at info@GoWellness, especially for the stem cell implementation program. We still have a couple seats available, but that's going to be June 23rd, 24th in Salt Lake. It's going to be an awesome event. So yeah, reach out to us and get registered for that.
Okay, thanks everybody. Love you guys.
Thanks everyone.